Hi, everybody. I guess first off, we just want to make sure everybody can see us and hear us. I wanted to make sure this plant didn't look like it was growing out of the top of my head. Oh, well, I think I had worse things growing out of the top of my head in other places. So anyway, hi, everybody from New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. I'm still in Courtright, Ontario, Canada, but we're both in Canada. Mm-hmm. We're just in different parts of the country. Noelle is doing a little vacationing for this month.
Yes.
So
oh, holy cow! There's a whole family. Sorry, we're just looking out now, and there's deer just going out by our window here. It's the first time we've seen them while we've been here, but there was one, and Ross goes, "Well, when there's one, there's always more," and sure enough. The rest of the families come to join.
It's probably dinner time, and you're probably supposed to be feeding them something.
Maybe. So anyway, it's 8:00 here. Oh, Ross said there's 5 of them now out there.
I hope he's taking pictures for us. Then you can show them next week.
Take pictures, Ross, and I can show them next week. Ask him to do that after he already set up all the camera stuff for me. And then he worked out, he's got the television turned around so that he can sit out on the deck and watch the tennis, even though he can't have the sound on. So
poor Ross.
Poor
Ross.
Welcome, everybody. We are not a wildlife show here.
Well, sometimes we're wild.
Anyways, we are a knitting podcast, and we're coming to you usually from Southwestern Ontario. Today, we're a little bit separated. My name's Noelle, and
I'm Kelly.
And we are a knitting podcast. And Ross, people are saying hi to you too. So anyway, he's keeping check on the wildlife situation. So yeah, so it's been a great week.
That's good.
Like, we had 2 long days of driving, but when you have long driving days, that's always good knitting time. So that was good.
Days. Good knitting days.
We had nice weather while we were driving. We didn't have no rain, and traffic actually wasn't that bad because we kind of timed it so that we would be driving on the Saturday and the Sunday of the long weekend. And usually everybody's getting to their destination on the Friday and they're going home on the Monday. So driving on the Saturday and Sunday actually worked out. So
good.
Yeah. So now we're here, and I just have to show a couple of pictures where we're staying. It's a cottage. It's right on the St. Croix River, and it's where there are some of the highest tides in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like fascinating. Like when we got here, the tide was right in, like almost right up to the cottage, and it goes out and it reveals an island out there.
Yes.
Like it's crazy. So anyway, I'll just show you. This was my morning knitting this morning, and it was just so calm, so peaceful. There's just a picture of like the sun was just coming up and the water just had like that pink tint on it. Like it kind of looked a little bit like that yarn I was knitting with last week that they called pink ice.
Yes.
And
gorgeous.
There's this little fellow came along just to keep me company while I was knitting. And we just have a beautiful, like, screened in porch here that you can sit out on the porch. That's all screened in and just sit out. And it's just so calm, so relaxing. And I mean, it's been beautiful in the morning to sit out there. The first morning was a little wasn't a little cloudy. You could see nothing. So, but anyway, just beautiful morning this morning. And I'm hoping I get that again tomorrow morning, because we leave here tomorrow to move on to our next location. So.
Okay. Well, you are missing.
And how was your long weekend?
It was good, but I was going to say you're missing absolutely nothing weather-wise here. We are in the middle of a stinking, smoking hot Ontario heat wave, and it's currently 31 degrees out there. It was too warm for a sweater even in my basement, it's just too warm. The AC is back on. Never thought I'd do that in September. And mosquitoes are back up. Whoops.
Could you try?
Shh. She's trying to tell me the weather herself. My watch.
Oh,
Anyway, and the mosquitoes are back out. And so it's kind of unpleasant. And I'm not really sure where they came from. I guess they came from the torrential rains that we had a couple of weeks ago when we were in BC visiting. So anyway, yeah, so that's how the week has been. A little bit of knitting. And I spent my weekend in the kitchen. Again, hot weekend in the kitchen, but
great weekend for it.
we did salsa. It's salsa weekend. That's traditionally what I do on the long weekend in September. And Mike, my sous chef, helped me out this time. And we did 65 jars of salsa. And then I did 4 big pans of fire roasted tomatoes. And I am tomatoed out for a bit. Although I did make a gluten-free pasta last night. I made that sort of, has anybody heard about this viral TikTok pasta dish that you make with the Boursin cheese? You do onions, dice up some tomatoes, and garlic, and you put this in, and then you put this little brick of Boursin cheese in the middle of it. You bake this and stir it all up and add in a pasta. And I added in a gluten-free pasta. I have to say it was pretty stinking good. So I see why it went viral. It was really, really delicious. But yes, Haley, it was a productive weekend. Not a lot of knitting, but hey, we are salsa'd for the
There you
year.
go. You're ready. You're ready.
We are good to go.
So-
Good to go. So, and Becky's asking, is it Cartwright? No, it's Courtright.
Courtright.
Courtright. And Wool and Wishes is saying it's a heat wave there too. And yes, I know that because I was watching your podcast yesterday. Yeah, great podcast, ladies. And tonight when I popped in here, I was a little early, so I went back to see who the first person was. Anne Kroll was the first person. She was here at noon today.
Well, she asked a question at noon. She asked a question.
She did. She did ask a question
she didn't
at
sit
noon.
there all day.
When she came back in, she was still the first person back in. So
Yeah.
it's great to see you, Anne. She said she's been catching up on some episodes. She has already watched 1 through 13. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a brave lady, because I wasn't even there by episode 13.
I know, because I think
Jacqueline
and I did 18 episodes before Zoe required more.
Yes,
more time.
absolutely.
Well, and to be fair, and she was back at work full time then. So
that's right.
Anyway. Okay. So where should we start?
Well, I just realized that somehow our names disappeared. I thought, I guess when you were showing the pictures, I was thinking we should have our names up there. Yeah. We know who we are, but maybe not everybody does.
Sometimes we know who we are.
Sometimes we get switched too. So, also, did you have any admin tonight other than the prizes?
A little, yep.
Okay, how about
before the prizes? I do have some questions for answering.
Yeah, let's do that first.
Okay. So, one of the first questions was that someone had just finished a sweater with superwash yarn, and it didn't just grow, but it was gigantic. So they wanted to know if we had any tips on, if you are going to do something with the superwash yarn, how do you go about adjusting it or picking the size that you're going to do? So, I mean, I guess the obvious answer that you think would be the obvious answer would be swatching. But for me, I don't even think that with superwash yarn that swatching gives you a really accurate picture, because it's a whole lot different when you do a swatch that's about this size and then wash it, block it. It's not the same as when you've got something that's 400 or 500 grams of yarn in it and you've got all that weight to weigh it down.
All that weight pulling it down. Yes.
So I tend to think the only superwash sweaters that I do is in fingering, and then usually it's at a tighter gauge. I don't tend to do superwash sweaters in DK or worsted simply because of that the growth factor is just,
unless we often will pair it with a mohair. Yeah. And then the mohair acts as a stabilizing thread, because the mohair doesn't really have any give to it.
It doesn't have as much stretch. I don't think it will totally get rid of it, but it will help.
Yes.
So, and does anybody else have any suggestions? Like the best thing to do if you're going to do something with I know a lot of people say when they've done with superwash, they're all worried that it's going to be too small. And then when they actually block it, and especially sleeves tend to really grow in length. But I have done a few kid sweaters in superwash, and I will throw them in the dryer to kind of put them back in.
Yes.
But, you know, just be careful when you do that, because you don't want to put it in for too long. So maybe putting it in for a couple of minutes at a time, taking it out and checking it, that might help. So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, US says pair it with silk mohair.
Mostly the sweaters that I have done, like the larger garments, have been either a crop sweater or like at least a short sleeve. So it hasn't been something that has had a lot of weight to it. I mean, that being said, don't think we're talking negatively about the superwash either, because I knit with a lot of it. I think it's great.
Yeah, and I mean,
for the socks. I love it for hats, children's clothing.
You have to get your sizing right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so now Joan says that superwash that has a nylon content doesn't grow anywhere near as much as a straight superwash. But I just think, you know, like, I mean, superwash, I think like the real draw with superwash is that it just takes color so well. And that is a big draw. So I guess you just have to be, careful. Like it's, you know, you hate to say, oh, you know, knit smaller, because then, you know, what if you happen to get the one batch that doesn't grow?
Right.
So, but I think most people would agree that most superwash is going to grow when you block it. So. Okay. And then a second question was about the pony cord and what size to buy. Someone was looking at the pony cord on Amazon and saw that it came in like 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, and 4 millimeter. I would say go with the 2 millimeter, because remember the diameter of that cord has to go through your stitches. So if you're using a 4 millimeter, you're not going to be able to put like a 4 millimeter, a project that you're knitting with 4 millimeter needles, you're not going to be able to put it on that cord. So to me, the smaller, the better. Make sure that you have a long length of cord, so that if your stitches are loose on it, you can kind of tie them or close them off with those little clips that you had, Kelly.
Yes.
The little flower clips.
Yeah. Got one of those here. I don't have the package down here with me, but it's these little, I think they're called Japanese paper clips. So they just fold like that. So you just, and then they grip the cords, so the cords can't slide off.
But yeah, so I would suggest that if you have a smaller size, it's going to, and for me, most of my knits are on like about a size 2.5 to like a 4 millimeter needle. So I would definitely, like, even I find when you get down into the 2.5 and the 3, it's even hard to get it on 2 millimeter cord. So I prefer the smaller cords. If you're knitting on 6 millimeter needles or, you know, 8 millimeter needles, you're probably fine with the 4 millimeter. So, okay. I have a couple more, but did you have any questions?
Well, there's just this one that popped in here a few minutes ago. Kathy asks, I'll actually put it up on screen. How would I knit a make one left or a make one right on the first stitch of a magic loop? So I know what I would do there. I would do a knit front and back. Yeah. Like on your first row, you're not really going to see it. If it's your very first row, like it's kind of hard to do a make one left or make one right into that. I think she's talking about on a magic loop, you know how you have your stitches on your front and your back. I think it's your first stitch that you have the make one left. So, and I'm wondering if she's talking about a sleeve, because that could be something that you would be doing. So in that case, what I do is I always knit the first stitch, then I do the make one left. And then when I'm coming around, I do the make one right and knit the last stitch. I certainly wouldn't want that to be at the first spot on my needle. You're absolutely right, Kathy. So if it is a sleeve that you're talking about, you're perfectly fine to knit one stitch.
Okay, and if someone said something here about superwash yarn.
Oh, she's making the easiest, sorry, because you just finished these, so maybe you can address it. She's making the easiest mittens by Tin Can.
I don't recall ever having a make one. I would have moved where my stitches were on the needle, so that the make one left or the make one right wasn't the first stitch.
Wasn't the first stitch, yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Okay, so Kim said, see above superwash yarn, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
Oh, I did see that. This one here. She
Oh,
says,
okay.
try washing it in hotter water than usual, pat it into shape for the
According to the
schematic
schematic.
measurements.
Okay.
And that's another thing too. Make sure, like, do not hang it when it's wet.
No.
Really pat that out dry and lay it flat to dry.
Even when you're
Certainly
taking it out of the water, make sure that you've got the whole thing supported so
in
that
your
you're not,
hands, so it's not pulling.
yes, so it's not, the weight of the water is not pulling the yarn out of shape. So
absolutely.
Okay, and then someone had also asked about the dress that we always talk about that you make, and I believe what they're referring to is the hinterland,
which I am wearing tonight. We'll get to that.
So and then someone else asked about doing 3x2 rib and casting on tubular. I have no idea. I have not ever done, I've only done knit 1 purl 1 and knit 2 purl 2. I have never done knit 3 purl 2 with a tubular cast on. I'm not really sure how you would do that. So if anybody knows, let us know and we'll post it in show notes. But I have actually not, I mean, you could do it obviously with just a straight long tail cast on, even the alternating cable. And I'll show today, I have done that and converted it now to 2x2 rib, but I don't know how I would do that to convert it to 3x2 rib, because the stitches are kind of, they either look like a knit or a purl, and it would be hard. Yeah, I don't know how you would do it. I can't even envision that. I can't. So, okay, so a couple of rows up for make one right and make one left.
I'm just going back, trying to find it. I don't see it on there. I'm missing it somewhere. Sorry, Kim. Harry, I'm talking behind my hand. Look at that.
Well, Lois had said that to make one right or make one left, she always lifts up the loop from the stitch below from either the right or the left. I guess we're just looking at it at yes, but we don't want that to be the first stitch on the needle, right?
Right.
So I mean, when you're doing something on a magic loop, it's up to you where you put that loop. It doesn't have to be half the stitches on one side and half the stitches on the other side. Like, you can manipulate that so that where you're doing those make one left
your beginning
and right
of row can be anywhere.
Are not. That's right. Like, as long as you keep your marker in for where your beginning of the row is, like where you actually are on the needle as far as your stitch allocation, doesn't really matter. As long as you know when you get to that, your marker, that you're at the end of the round. So.
Okay, hopefully that helps, Kathy, or hopefully you're not more confused than when you ask the question.
Yeah.
If you have more questions, feel free to send us a message, and we can try to do better if we weren't very clear. All right. Did you have?
And I know Kim said that magic loop, they can be done in between, and I agree that they can be, but sometimes it's just harder to work it there. So, I mean, I think I've done it, and I actually, a lot of times I don't do make one left or make one right. I actually do the lifted increases.
The lifted increases, yes.
Yeah. So. That's right. But yes, the make one left, they can be done. It's just a matter of whether you feel comfortable with having it there, or whether you feel comfortable if you've got a kind of an anchor stitch before it and another stitch after it. So. Okay, another question that I had was, how do you pick the size for a circular yoke sweater so that your sleeves are not too tight? So the thing with circular yokes is you can kind of, if you need more stitches in your sleeves because you have a bigger arm circumference than maybe what the chest circumference is, you can actually, like in the yoke, increase more stitches, and then when you go to divide, you can leave more stitches on for each of the sleeves and fewer stitches on for your front and your back. But you would have to determine that by your own measurement. So you would have to look at what your arm circumference is in comparison to what your bust circumference is. Look at the schematic for the sweater, because most times the schematics will give you like an upper arm measurement,
yes,
as well as a chest measurement. So you might be okay with a specific chest measurement, but you need your sleeves to be bigger. So you can actually increase to the bigger size. And then when you're dividing, keep the same number of stitches that your size required for the bust, but then put a larger amount of stitches on for the sleeves. Yes. So another thing that you can do is when you get kind of finished the yoke, as long as you're not too deep, you can do a few raglan increases where you only increase in the sleeve section. So, but without seeing a specific pattern, it's hard to know how to do that. So anyway, does anybody else have any advice for that?
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. And then the last question that I had was, how do you avoid pooling an indie dyed yarn? You have to helical knit or alternate skeins. It's really the only way to get around it. I've even had to do it within one cake of yarn where I've actually pulled from the center and pulled from the outside. Yeah, if I've only got one ball, because it looked like the color variation went from either darker to lighter in the skein. So if you want it to look more uniform, you need to alternate from each side of the ball. So if you're doing a pattern that's got a lot of texture or you've got seams in it, you can actually alternate there. If you're doing in the round, pretty much you have to helical knit, which I know you're doing on a sweater right now, Kelly.
I am.
Yeah. So, but okay. Did you have any other questions for?
No. Did I answer? Yes. Okay. We're done that one. Okay.
Now Cynthia says she goes up a size for her sleeves when she's doing a yoke sweater. So again, I think you've got to go with your own measurements. Yeah, and sometimes it depends on, you can catch on a few extra sleeves here when you're doing a circular yoke. So you pick up your stitches that are on your cord, and then when you pick up the underarm, you could actually pick up a few more stitches there, and that would give you a little bit more
to give yourself a little bit more
in
room.
The sleeve. Yep. So, okay, so Kelly, I think we have some prizes.
We do. Let's just answer this one first. She says that she's frozen on how to begin a sweater. She's been knitting for 3 years and she keeps putting it off. Do we have advice for a first timer? I know that we handily always go to the Flax by Tin Can Knits because it's a nice, easy pattern and it has great instructions. And then they also have an app available now. And you said that the Flax is on there.
Flax is in it. Yep.
Flax is in it. And earlier in this chat, I noticed Mary was talking about, she had just downloaded the Tin Can app this week, and she said she thinks it's going to be a huge help with some of their patterns. So we always suggest that because we think that's a great first sweater, and it does come in sizes all the way from 0 to 3 months to an adult. So it's a good bang for your buck.
Yeah. And they do have a new sweater pattern out too now called the Simple Sweater. It is a paid for pattern, but it is basically just like a top down yoked sweater, which is really easy to do for your first sweater too. So, but don't be like, and we say, don't be afraid. You can rip back. If you make a mistake, you can rip back. It's not.
And if you've done smaller projects and you've done those projects from a pattern, then obviously you can follow a pattern, and a sweater is just a longer pattern, and it's not any more difficult than a smaller project. Just read the pattern and follow along the steps and you will have some success. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And I know that there's, I know when you and I were first knitting, there wasn't a whole lot of top down sweaters. Like, I mean, I don't mind doing a bottom up sweater, but I honestly really think, well, I really honestly think for your first sweater, a top down sweater is probably the easiest. Bottom up is good if you're doing a yoke sweater too, because you can do the bottom, you do the sleeves, but it is a little tight when you're joining those first few rows after the.
It is.
Like when you get them all.
And you know, it's been a while since I've done a sweater like that until I did Miles' little acorn sweater. And honestly, I had forgotten how tight those first few rows are. And I was thinking, goodness, I wasn't having a whole lot of fun at that point. But then once I got past the first few rows, everything was smooth sailing. So if I had to choose a way to do a sweater, like a yoked sweater, it would definitely a top down. I don't find that there are any tricky spots in that. And then when you get to that separate for the sleeves, the rest of it's just basic stockinette knitting all the way down to the bottom. Super easy.
Yeah. So don't like I said, don't be afraid. Like you can rip it back. You can, If you do top down, you can kind of try it on as you go along. It's once you get so much done in the yoke, you can measure your gauge to make sure that you're right on track from your swatch. And I think the biggest thing is just don't be afraid. Like just,
Be
you know,
fearless.
it's just
Just be
knitting.
fearless.
It's just
Yes.
knitting.
I like Marianne's comparison. She says a sweater is just like a big slouchy hat with sock legs.
There you go. There you go. So,
and
but
oops, exactly, Kim. There we go. I'm trying to hide these things. Just jump in. And you know what? If you get stuck, there's lots of people that can help out. Lots of people in here that can help out.
Yep.
And I'm sure that would be happy to help you. And there's so many tutorials on YouTube right now for things when you get stuck. If you get stuck with something.
Yep. Isabel said, like, pretty much you can go to YouTube and type in anything you want to know, like, well, even cast-ons, right? Like what cast-on, you can go in and you can type in how to do this cast-on or how to increase this or how to separate for sleeves. And you should be able to find a video for whatever technique you're looking for. So, and there's a lot of, even if you go to Very Pink Knits, she does a lot of tutorials where she actually shows them in slow motion.
Yes.
So that might help too. So,
okay.
That's right. And Kim says, read people's project notes on Ravelry. And that's a good idea too, because if there are some little idiosyncrasies in the pattern, usually people will point that out. And you can actually go up to the top of your Ravelry and you can, if you're looking at projects, you can choose to filter it down to all helpful projects or all projects with notes.
Yes, which is very good.
Yeah.
Kathy is suggesting the Southwood sweater from Galt House of Yarn. She said it's an easy raglan sweater, which I love, 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 love raglan sweaters. I think that's a great fit for everyone, really. And it's free as well. And it's a top down. So that's another suggestion.
And I know, like, I usually recommend the flax simply because I have done it and I'm familiar with it. So I know that the pattern gives you a lot of good options. There's even the options of whether you want to do short rows or not to bring up the back neck. And it does. And especially, I do really think that for a first time sweater, if you use that Tin Can Knits app, would be really helpful. And it's got, like, every single section that it's got, you can hit the down bar that's beside that section. And if there's any techniques in that section, it will link to a tutorial to show you how to do that.
So Odd says, thank you. And I love this next part. She says that she is a YouTube self-taught and she has no one to watch in person. So this helps. I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that you have gotten this far and you have picked something up and decided that you wanted to do it and you're self-taught strictly from YouTube. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And I hope that you will jump into a sweater and keep us posted. We'd love to hear how you're making out.
Okay.
All right.
So we have prizes.
We have prizes. Okay. Let's get to prizes. So what
do you want to do first?
We'll do the sock, the month-end sock. How about that? So as you are aware, each month we have, we have okay. I'm going to get there eventually. We have a year-long sock along in our Ravelry group. And it's super simple. All you do is finish a pair of socks. We don't care when you started them. Whenever you finish them, drop them into the Makealong. And at the end of each month, we draw two prizes. We draw for a pattern and we draw for yarn. And we will go back and we will include all the way back to January 1st. Yep. So at the end of August, on August 31st, there were 2,084 pairs of socks.
That's awesome.
You knitters out there.
Yeah, because they're not ours.
They're not ours. And I think that's an amazing number for the end of August. That's super exciting. And I know, if you are a sock knitter looking for inspiration, I'm going to yawn. Sorry. Oh, if you're a sock knitter looking for inspiration, please check out that Ravelry thread because that's a rabbit hole. That is a deep, deep rabbit hole to fall down into.
Well, and it's we're only really sort of getting into prime sock knitting season now.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the pattern prize winner
is Luana 64.
Luana 64. And that's really nice. I love the colors in that.
I like those pastels. I like that bright
Yeah.
pop of teal.
Yeah, of the
And
yellow.
she was entry number 792. So this is for any pattern from our friend Natalie, who is a fantastic supporter of our podcast. And she is Remembrances Pottery, but she is more than a potter. She is also a pattern designer, and she makes beautiful patterns. And I think they are all color work, all of her patterns, and you may choose any one that you like. And as soon as we're done with the yarn, I will let you both know how you can reach out to us and get that. So the second winner for the yarn is 1928, Michelle. Congratulations, Michelle. I love those. I think those are really fun. Somebody's going to get some happy Christmas feet.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how she's got this little bit of a cuff on hers, and it's a roll top too. It's really nice.
Yep.
And I love that yarn. The speckle and the stripe.
Very nice.
Very clever. Beautiful. So she has one. This was, I do have a banner in here too for this. Should have looked for this first. There we go. Jenna Yarn, which is jennayarn.ca. This is gorgeous. I thought this was perfect. We're coming into fall. I love the tweedy little neps in there, and it's a sock set. So you have 100 grams of the dark navy, and then you've got a nice coordinating if you want to do a different pop of color for heels and toes. And we met her in Montreal in April at Knit City, and she very generously donated this to the podcast for a gift. And it's gorgeous. The color is just beautiful. So,
okay, Haley said she just knitted her first pair of socks last week, little tiny newborn ones.
Oh,
that's awesome. Haley, there's no difference between knitting little tiny newborn ones and adult ones. They're just bigger and more knitting.
That's right. 10,000 stitches of knitting.
Constructions is the same. Construction's the same. But
so
that's awesome. But little teeny socks look so cute.
Yes. If you've won a prize on here for the socks this month, here's where you can reach out to us at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. Let us know for the pattern. Noelle will send you a code so that you can go in and select your pattern. And for the yarn, give us your full name and address, and I will pop that in the mail for you. Okay. Then last week, we had a very special prize donation, which was this gorgeous needle holder, minder, no, needle. Candace, I swore I was going to not botch
organizer.
This. Needle organizer. Thank you. So Candace Kitchen is the designer and the maker behind I Can Sew Make That. And she's also the podcaster behind CLK Creates. And I did have this lovely banner made for you last week, Candace, but I lost it somewhere. So anyway, she donated this lovely prize, and she does still have, I think, last I checked, there were still just a few of these in her shop. So if you don't happen to be the lucky winner, you might want to hop in and buy one. I've got one for my wall, and she has them very cleverly labeled, all of the sizes. So you just put your circular needles through there.
Oh, okay.
All of them. And then she has this, which is measured off, and I got this wrong last week, so hopefully I can get it right this time. 16, 24.
Oh, okay.
And 32. I hope that's right this time. Gosh, I hope that's right. Anyway, it's absolutely beautiful. It's denim on the back. It's this beautiful fabric in here, and it's really so very well made. These are gorgeous. And we had a draw last week for this, and the winner is
Summer N. So Summer said, I enjoyed the podcast. Thank you. Hi, Candace, your needle holder is beautiful. And there was so many lovely comments about Candace's needle holder, and it's just a gorgeous way to organize your needles and keep everything in place and be able to find something as soon as you need it instead of having to hunt through the house to try and find where you put your needle.
Right? Well, mine are all hanging on a wall, and they're also like still in plastic wrappers, and that's a little bit of a nuisance too. So I'm happy to have this and to get it onto my wall where everything will be in one spot. So Summer, if you could reach out to us as well at our Gmail address, and then we can get that in the mail for you.
Okay. So we haven't even really started talking about knitting.
We haven't, but I just wanted to show this one last time before. Did you had a label for this too, didn't you?
There was a label in there, I think. I'll find it. You talk about it.
There we go. So we were gifted this last week from the Knitting Loft, and this is an amazing package for someone to win. Sorry for the crinkling, but I do not want to take it out of here. It's so beautifully packaged. It is 2 skeins of the Care yarn and 1 coordinating skein of their mohair. Absolutely beautiful. The colorway is vintage pink, and it's just amazing. And there's a pattern in here as well for a shawl. So we have decided that we are going to gift this to one lucky viewer when we have hit 7,000 subscribers, which is only about 40 subscribers away. So maybe that'll happen this week, and maybe this will go out to somebody next week. So, okay.
Okay. So we should talk about what we're wearing.
We're at 36 minutes and we're only there.
I know.
Okay. You start.
Okay. I am wearing the Tenya by Caitlin Hunter. I knit this quite a while ago, as you will see by the picture, because my hair was quite a bit shorter. This is done in Holst Garn Coast. The color is called Amber, and it took 2.06 skeins, which is like 103 grams of yarn to knit this sweater. It's worn really well. I did it on a 3¼ millimeter needle. So my gauge in the sweater is a lot tighter than what Caitlin Hunter calls for. Like, I think she calls for like a 20 stitch. I think I knitted at about a 26 because I didn't like the Coast at a 20 stitch gauge or 22 stitch gauge. So I just did a bigger size to accommodate for that. Yeah, like this yarn just blooms beautifully when you wash it. It's a blend of, I think the Coast is a blend of lamb's wool and cotton. And I think I can't quite remember. I think it's 55 lamb's wool, 45 cotton or something like that. I don't think it's quite 50-50. The Holst Garn, the Coast comes in an absolutely amazing array of colors. You can also buy it on a cone. Yeah, it's would definitely like it for summer mitts. I mean, obviously, you're not going to wear it on a day like what you have back in Ontario right now, where it's 35 degrees. But like, I'm not wearing anything knitted if it's that warm, right? But it's still actually a pretty nice fabric for like warmer knits. So, and I do like the sleeve just kind of comes to my elbow, and so I probably could have made the sleeve a little shorter and gotten away with 2 skeins, but I'll use the other rest of it in something.
Color work.
Yeah. So that is what I'm wearing. So.
Okay. And I am wearing a dress that I made. I know you can't see very much of it. So I did go in and screenshot the front of their pattern. I don't think I have a banner for it. So we'll just take your Tenya down.
Okay.
But it is the Hinterland dress, and it is by Sew Liberated. This is probably what I would say every sewer probably has a Hinterland pattern in their arsenal. And it's one of those dresses that has been hacked 100 different ways to do different things with. I myself have made it a couple of different ways. Different lengths, change the style. The pattern comes with sleeves. You can do it with a short sleeve, with a long sleeve. You can do it with a button placket. Only halfway, you can do the button placket all the way. This one is just particularly just a summer shift, and it has some ties at the waist. So I've got it tied up to snug it up a little bit. This is probably one of my favorite dresses to make out of woven fabrics for the purpose of wearing my little crop sweaters with. And I have several versions of this dress, and you can do so many things with it. It's just changing up the type of fabric, or even where if you do a pocket placement. This particular one, I did the inside pockets. I can be anywhere and I will see somebody in one of these dresses. And it's a
Yeah.
really easy sew for somebody that's just starting out. Lately, I think I've had a few questions asking if somebody was a beginning sewer, what would be a recommended pattern for them to start with, and I absolutely would recommend this. So there you go, the Hinterland dress.
Okay. So now we'll move into, did you finish anything?
I did.
Okay. How many finishes do you have?
I have one.
Okay, I have 3.
Okay, then I think
Okay.
you will start.
Okay. My first one I don't have with me because I finished it before we left, so I didn't want to bring it with me. But the first one is, and I talked about it a little before, the Simple Sweater by Tin Can Knits. And I just have a picture of it. So this is a child's version. So the size that I did was a size 2 to 4. And this is done in Rico Designs Creative Melange Erin Wonderball. I'm pretty sure I got that right.
That's a mouthful.
So anyways,
that is a mouthful.
Yeah. So this is, I think this was color number 4. When we come back on here, I've got still this much of this left. It comes in a 200-gram ball. I've still got this left.
What size? What
that was a size 2 to 4.
Size 2 to 4. Okay.
2 to 4. Yep. So it took, this is 200 grams. It took 1.5. No. It took 1.01. So it took 101 grams. So
Okay.
this is that does come up as an Aran weight, but there is 600 and something meters in this. So anyway, so that was a sample for Little Red Mitten, and I am going to, with this, make another sample for them, but it's going to be the Simple Beanie by Tin Can Knits in an adult version, and there'll be lots of yarn to do that with this. So this yarn does come, this is from Little Red Mitten. It does come in quite a few different colors, and they're all kind of blended like that. But I thought, like, I mean, even when I was knitting that, Molly and Isla and Zoe saw it and they all loved it, like the stripes for the kids' sweater. And for the kids' sweater, like, I wasn't too concerned about the sleeves being a little bit different. It's just kind of fun colors all over.
Absolutely. So, and it's perfect for moving into fall. I really like that too. It looks great.
Yep, and it is. It does knit up like an Aran weight, but it is a lighter yarn, so it's not super heavy. So it is a good yarn for this time of year. And I believe there is some acrylic in it, but I believe there's 50 or more % wool. I don't have the tag right with me, of course. I mean, I didn't bring all this with me on my trip. So anyway, I'll find out more about it for next week because I will be knitting with it. Maybe not by next week, but soon.
Okay.
So Isabel said she made a children's sweater with self-striping and the sleeves and the body look the same as mine. She just called it her Doppler sweater. There you go. I'll just call it a Doppler sweater.
It's cute. It's cute. I want to make one for Miles.
So yeah, it is cute.
I was just going some of the recent comments. Kathy says she doesn't have a store or a group near her, so she considers this her group. That's so sweet, Kathy. I love how much conversation is. It's hard for me to see what we need to say, but I love this, all of these little side chats that are happening on the screen. Yeah. I hope some of you sort of hang out together outside of Knit Chat too. That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the finish I have, and yes, there are 2. Noelle, there are 2. Nice. I finished my Unity socks. I look at the stitch definition on these babies. And this is using the Trillium sock by Roots and Rain. And it is the colorway is indigo. And the Trillium sock is a limited edition. And before I get into this pattern, I want to tell you that sadly, right now, everything from Roots and Rain is a limited edition because Donna announced earlier this week that she's going to have to take a little bit of a break from her dye pots. So she has 2 shows left this fall. And then she said there will be some items in the shop as well. So if you haven't gotten your Roots and Rains yarn yet, and Noelle and I both have knit a few things now with it, and we absolutely love it. This is sort of a last call for it. So the beauty of the Trillium sock is that it does come in a 100 gram ball, but there are 450 yards in that ball. And it's a 70% Rito Arcot and 30% nylon. Small farm raised and milled. And
Gorgeous.
I absolutely love these socks. These are so cozy. And I only used 37 grams to make a lady's size 8 sock. I have all of this left.
Okay, but
So
did you weigh the ball before you started?
No. Because
because
I started it when we were up north in Kawartha.
Okay, but I'm just saying because I know that my heel sweater is made with the
Trillium
Trillium is made with the Trillium. I'm thinking Unity and Trinity, and anyway, it's made with the Trillium. And I only weighed one of the skeins, but I weighed my first skein and it was 120 grams.
Oh, okay. So it was a really heavy skein. Okay. Well, so then
we don't want to tell someone that it just took that amount and they use a different yarn and that might not be enough.
Okay. Yes.
So
Wendy says she loves her Roots and Rain and she's so sad that Donna is taking a break. We're all sad, but you know what? Hopefully the break is everything that Donna needs, and Donna will be able to come back and do some more beautiful dyeing for us, because I cannot wait to wear these. I'm not going to wear them this week, Donna. It's stinking hot here, but I cannot wait to wear these. The stitch definition is just, and they are like, they weigh nothing, but they are like,
I know.
So plump. And you know this because you just finished your sweater in it. Yeah. It's just so cozy. And this was a beautiful pattern. This was a lot of fun to do. I don't know why they took me so long, because I got all excited when I did the first one and then they languished, as the second sock does.
Because it's not sock wearing season.
Well, exactly. I knew I wasn't wearing them anytime soon.
That's right.
So I figured I had time, but I couldn't be happier with these. Could not be happier. All right.
Okay.
Back to you.
My next finished object are Vanilla Bean Striped Socks by Emily O'Grady. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. And these are one of my pairs. And I don't have any sock blockers with me, but these are one of my pairs for Christmas. So these, if you can see, like up at the top, it's kind of got that slip stitch detail. Mm-hmm. I only did that on the leg of the sock because I thought you can feel that a little bit on the inside. So I didn't want you to feel that on the inside of the foot. So when I got down to the foot, I just did it plain. This is Timber Yarns Marled Twin Sock. It's green. I can't remember the color of the green name, but there will be show notes. I did bring my computer with me so I could do show notes. So there will be show notes. So it will be, the actual color will be in the show notes. Again, I did the alternating cable cast on, which I have used so much since I learned that.
Right? It's the new thing. I know. It's the new life-changing knitting thing.
That's right. Cut in heel, afterthought heel. This is also Timber Yarns in their plain yarn, and that's called Licorice, that color. So this is the 6th pair for Christmas finished, and this is the 5th male pair.
So I only have You have a ways to go.
Yeah, they'll get done. Because anyway. I really like the green and it turned out nice, and I'm glad that those ones are done, and big ones will be done and the smaller ones won't take as long. Okay, and then my last finished object is, just find it. Where is it? I don't know. I know I made a banner. It's got to be in here somewhere.
What are we looking for?
We have too many banners in here. We have to start taking some of them out.
It's because our whip list is a little long, Noelle. That's why.
Pardon me? I know.
It's because the whip list is long.
I know. We have to work on that whip list. Anyway, did you find it?
You didn't have a banner, but I saw the picture. You didn't make a banner.
Oh, did I only put a picture? Did I not make a banner? Okay. Anyway, they are, well, if the picture's there, then I put a name on the picture. They are the Rowan Lace Knits.
By Fox and Folk.
By Fox and Folk. Did I not make a banner? I just put it all on the picture.
You put all of that on the picture. I can go make a banner. I'll make a banner.
I'll bring up the other picture. There we go. Okay, so these are just little fingerless mitts, but this yarn that I did it in, and again, this is a sample for Little Red Mitten. This is the Lang Yak. It's a worsted weight to Aran weight yarn. It comes in a 50-gram skein. It is 30% yak and 70% merino, and it just feels amazing, like unbelievably amazing. Like these are just the coziest little things. There's the design in them. So they're a little bit feminine looking with the lace design on the back, but this yarn is just like, oh, I will have to make a pair of these for me. Actually, I'd like a whole pair of mitts in them. It's so soft.
Well, they look
The
like they're a
yak,
really fast project too, are they?
oh, really fast. Yeah. And this is the lavender color. So you can kind of see, you get that. It's kind of like a grayish lavender because you get that color from the yak. So it's not like a really bright color, but you just get that depth with it being dyed on a darker base. So yeah. So I mean, the yak yarn is expensive, but like this was, I still probably have maybe 10 grams left of a 50-gram cake. So again, that would make a pretty nice gift, right?
Absolutely.
Easy, fast to knit up. The weight is, I think they call it Aran actually, because these are done on a 4.5 millimeter needle, but it's 18 stitch gauge. So, and it was super easy pattern, super cute. You just get a little bit of detail in it, and
I like those a lot. I like those.
I like them a lot. Yeah, I like them. So anyway, that was my third finished object. Okay. And it looks like the pattern has a scarf to go with it, but I think that's a separate pattern because it wasn't on this pattern. So
okay. Before we leave this, Donna has mentioned that she was able to get her hands on another small amount of the Trillium base, and she will have it at her September shows. And then if there's anything left, it will be in the shop update. So again, Donna, we're going to miss this yarn. So I hope that the break is everything that you need, and we are sending all our positive energy your way. And
that's right.
Hoping that things work out, and we'll see Roots and Rain back in the future. Okay, moving on to whips. And you know, if we would concentrate on the whips, and I say this for both of us, not just you, not just me. I know. I say for both of us, then the banner list might not be quite so long. But
I know. However, I think I should just. I keep thinking I leave the banner in there, right? Thinking, okay, we're gonna do it, and I'm like, it's been in there for months. I should just take it out and I could make another banner. Actually work on it.
I know, but it keeps me mindful.
Every week I see it.
Keeps me mindful. Yeah,
that's right. Every week I see it, and I'm like, I have to work on that anyway.
Yes.
Okay. How many whips do you have?
2.
I have 4.
You get to start again, my friend.
Okay. Well, this one is
teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny. I just started this today. This was I went to a yarn store today, so I started this on the way to the yarn store. So this will be the last pair of male Christmas socks. So this is, and I know this color. This again is the Timber Yarns twin sock marl, and this color is Cake Boss Brown.
Yes, it is.
So, and this is the one. Let's see if I can. I
the
did
2x2
alternating cable cast on, but I converted it to a 2x2.
Aren't you clever?
So, well, there's a tutorial for it, Kelly. I didn't figure it out. Anyway, it's because it's very similar to kind of how you convert the tubular. So anyway, like you do your cast on row, and then you actually knit one row and knit one purl one, and then you do it where you rearrange your stitches so that you get knit 2 purl 2. But I quite like it. I'm happy with the result. And I did this in the car driving for the first time. I wasn't driving.
I was going to say, were you driving? No,
I was a passenger. So these are going to, I'm just going to put, for this one, I'm just going to put a little kind of, not a cable. It's going to be twisted stitches, like 2 twisted stitches, twisting one way and 2 twisting the other way, and then repeat them every 4 or 5 rows with a purl stitch on each side just for detail. So I'll have to see what it looks like. But anyway, Yeah, that's hopefully I'll at least have this pair done before I come home. We shall see.
You shall see. No, Alyssa is asking if there are any suggestions on who to watch for an alternating cable cast on. If you go back, was it 2 episodes?
2 episodes.
2 episodes back into our show notes, Alyssa, we have a link to the tutorial that we both watched and learned from. And I thought
think I actually
or did you have a different one?
No. I think I actually linked it right under. Like, you don't even have to go to the show notes. I think I linked it right under the video.
Okay.
From 2 times ago, and I will actually copy it and put it down under this one again too.
Okay, because I actually thought it was a fantastic tutorial. I picked up on it just like that. So, Marianne, you're right. Marianne wants to know, who were auto drive cars actually made for? I swear they were made for knitters. Absolutely. It's funny because it's not funny, but it's funny, strange, because I was driving home the other day and I was in London. I was driving home by myself, not having a driver, which I would prefer so that I could knit. But anyway, driving home by myself, and it was a road. There's no traffic on this road. It's just me on a road, straight driving. And I'm telling you, the thoughts were creeping in because I had my knitting in my bag. I'm like, I could totally be knitting while I'm doing it. I wouldn't. I didn't. I wouldn't. But I just thought I could totally do this. I could. I wouldn't.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
Yep. Okay. I am back to my, because this is a test that needs to be done. So I am back to my
yes, we haven't seen this one in a while.
By Beth McDonald Stone, which I have decided to turn into a dress. So it's actually getting pretty long. Like it's already longer than I would have for a sweater.
I was gonna say, isn't that a mini dress for you yet? It looks like
almost. So yeah, so this is a test for Beth McDonald Stone, and I believe it's coming out sometime in October. I'm not positive on that, but mine is done in Holst Garn Super Soft, and it is Venetian red. And then my yoke is, hold it up, I don't know, can you see the sparkle?
Faintly.
Sometimes it's hard to see the sparkle.
It is hard. Sometimes you can see it.
But anyway, the stars are Holst Garn Titicaca, which is the alpaca, held with a strand of the Lang paillettes that kind of have like a, I know the sparkle is sometimes hard to see, but it does sparkle.
It does. I can see it every so often. It catches a sparkle. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, so I'm gonna work on that some this week and see how far I can get down. I've got to decide how long I want to make it. It's not going to be too long. Like, I'm not going to make it because I'm probably going to wear it with tights or leggings or whatever. But yeah, so look for that pattern coming out. Like, I just think it's a gorgeous pattern.
It is. It's beautiful.
So, yeah. And it's got just a plain neckband, like the neck where I've got that pink yarn in, it gets turned down and sewn to that. So it's just like a fold over neck. It'll be the same at the bottom down here. And I think the sleeves I might kind of leave like big, like not big, but you know what
like
I mean?
A little
so
bit,
that they'll go straight all the way down, and then I'll just cinch it in at the cuff. So that they're
a little bit of
blousy.
a balloon, just a little bit of like a puff sleeve.
Yeah, okay. But not, I won't increase stitches like to make it too much, like just a little bit. So so I'm really, and I mean, I'm getting more back to, I want to work on these now because hopefully we're going to get into the weather where we can actually wear stuff like this.
Yeah.
So,
they're on my mind. Yes, definitely on my mind. So things that I worked on this week. Well, last week I had only just cast on my sheep camp sweater, and I've done the yoke. I've split for sleeves. It's so pretty. It is so pretty. And I am using the gifted from Noelle Southlander Sport and the spin cycle. Oh, I meant to bring down what I had left. Teeny tiny little ball. Really? But I got it all.
I thought you'd have enough though. Yeah.
Yeah. Spin cycle yarns, and it's the dyed in the wool. And this is the Knitting Loft color, which is called After Midnight. Love that name because that's me, which, and I know I said it last week, but I'm going to say it again. It looked gray and pink in the ball. And then when I skeined it up, it's totally teal. And I could not love this more. So I tried it on today. So I have a couple of, I have some yoke shots today. Here's the first one.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm
Pretty.
so happy with this sweater. This sweater is going to be awesome to wear. It's going to be a full length sweater. So no crop here for this one, as I have lots of this yarn. And I'm going to make full length sleeves. And this will be sort of something to throw on with jeans and wear and Blundstone boots. And I couldn't be happier with this. I am loving
like that pattern in that yoke to me is almost like an optical illusion, like depending on how you look at it.
The more you look at it. Yeah.
Like
it looks,
whether you
sometimes
see
it looks
the
inverted.
solid color. Yes. Or whether you see the marled color.
Yes.
So I looked at others on Ravelry too. And it's almost like, depending on how you look at it, depends kind of how you see the design.
I know, it's very weird. There was a wallpaper. Well, prior to COVID, when I used to go to a hair shop, my hair shop had this wallpaper and it was birch trees, and it was like an optical illusion. It used to get me every time. I could never see which was the birch tree and which was the background. And I'd sit there under the dryer and stare at this and try to figure it out. And this is sort of the same thing. But I'm still on my first skein. Like I still have yarn.
Oh, I know.
This is going to go on forever. And this is really, really nice yarn to work with. I did go down a needle size in this because I think it was a recommended to a 4.5. And I did swatch that, and it just felt to me, it was a little loose and it was too big. So I did have to drop down to a 4, and it was still a little bit bigger. So I'm actually sizing down the sweater, but as you can see from the picture, the fit is perfect. Yep. So couldn't be happier with the way this project is working out.
Okay. Well, I am my next whip, and I've gotten to the armholes. So this is my pressed flowers cardigan. So I have gotten to, I've gone across the row, and you just I don't want to give too much away, but you just separate out. So I will be doing one side. I can't see exactly where it is here, but you just kind of cast off one stitch. I think it's right there in between your your back and your two fronts. And so this one is also done in the Southlander yarn. And I've gotten all this done.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that you were working with the same yarn.
And I'm still on my first skein of this yarn.
It's like the never ending ball.
Yeah. This is the Southlander sport yarn that's from Skeins that I got when I was in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And this color is called Dusky Heather. And my flowers are the Knitting Loft Care in the color Frosted Sprinkles. They just
it's so
pretty. I just love it. And again, it's kind of like the juxtaposition between the kind of more rustic-y yarn and then the yarn with the silk and the mohair in it. And I'm really happy with that. So now I think it actually should go a little faster because I'll be doing the fronts and then the back, and the fronts are V-shaped or regular shaped. What do you call that? V-shaped. Anyway, so I think that'll go fast now, but this was a lot of knitting. When you're doing, this is all mosaic. So when you're doing mosaic, you're basically doing 2 rows for every 1 row. So it just seemed and I know Sarah, didn't see Sarah in here tonight, but Sarah was doing one of these too. And she said, it just the knitting goes on forever. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But she said when she was knitting it, she's like, it goes on forever. But
well, see, now I feel like you're finished. Now I feel like you're knitting at the speed that the rest of us knit at.
Anyway, so that's fun to knit on. And the pattern actually in that the pressed flowers, any of her designs, it's kind of intuitive once you get into it a bit, that you don't really need, you can see where the placement of the flowers are. You don't really need to have the pattern in front of you. I will need it now because I'm doing shaping, but when I was doing all that, I could knit it if we were at a coffee shop or because it was pretty intuitive. So, okay.
Lindsay says that the Southlander yarn is on sale at the moment here in New Zealand. She's going to get some for sure. It is. It's beautiful yarn. I'm so happy that you gifted it to me. So happy. And I think, I don't have them yet, but I think These are going to look, this sweater will look amazing with my pink clogs. I can't
Oh.
wait. Cannot wait. Okay, I have one more whip that I worked on this week.
Okay.
So I got my roost sweater back onto needles, and I didn't knit a lot. I only knit an inch, but that's another inch that I didn't have done last week. And now that it's back out, I'm excited to be working on it again.
Yep.
So since I was in the mood for taking yoke photos today in my air-conditioned house, I took a yoke photo of this one too. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Pretty. I love this. Now this one's definitely bigger. I'm trying to I don't even know what size I made in this one. I know the sheep camp I made a size 3. This one's a size, I think maybe a size 4, but it's definitely looser. But I was also trying it on just over top of this thin dress today. So maybe I would wear like a different shirt underneath this, but also this was meant to be looser. This is, I'm thinking sort of like sweatshirt style, but it's fun. It's fun. And this is a beautiful yarn to work with. So the color work, I used all of the Jameson and Smith jumper weight, and then the body of the sweater is the Vichy Bouche, the Le Petit Lamb's wool. And it's really a pleasure to knit with. It's got such a great tooth to it, and it creates a beautiful fabric. So,
so the Skeins is having a sale till for the whole month of September. You know what? I had a whole bunch shipped back, and it actually didn't cost that much to ship it back. Just saying.
Just saying. We're good right now.
Anyway,
but maybe the next time it's on sale, let us know the next time.
I'm just gonna go to New Zealand again.
That's right. You're just gonna go.
I don't want to pay the shipping. I'm gonna go to New Zealand.
Sharon is telling us that the Truly Myrtle yarns are all named after members of Libby's family.
Oh,
there you go. Very fun. So,
okay.
Did you have anything else that you're working on?
Yep.
Okay.
Just started. Okay,
these are barely whips, all right? When you have like six rows on the needles, just to get in there and get in the whip parade.
I just didn't, want that. I didn't want that list to get shorter. But look, you can see the sparkles.
Sparkles. That's right. That's your ranunculus, right?
Yes. So this is a ranunculus. It's a sample for Little Red Mitten. But like this, I'm gonna have so much fun knitting this. So this is done. This is going to be done in. This is the Holst Super Soft, and this color is called Space.
Comet. Space, yes.
Space. Then this is the Holst Titicaca, and this color is called Galaxy. So Space Galaxy, that actually,
And then the stars. And then the stars in the galaxy.
And then the stars, yeah. And then this is the Lang Paillettes. And you see the Lang Paillettes come on the same color thread. Well, there's still silver sequins, but then it matches the... So anyways, like this is actually quite an expensive yarn. So what we're doing, I've just got 2 of these. So I think that's about 240 yards. So in this, like there's still, like you can still see enough sparkle there, right? But there's only 2 rows of that actually have sparkle in it. The rest of them are just knit plain.
Yes,
but I think
lots
there's
of
enough,
sparkles.
Yeah, there's enough sequins in that yarn that you can kind of just hold the sequins. Like I'm going to be holding the sequins just every 3rd round. Mm-hmm. So that one's just started, and I have it in, look at this, it's so cute. We went to a yarn store today, and I don't really need any yarn, but hey, it was a basket.
You always use a basket to put your yarn in.
And I just thought and I'm going to actually, the girl in the shop told me that when I get home, I'm actually going to shape it a bit. I'm going to, she does just soak it in warm water, and then you can shape it all out. She said when they get them in, they're actually flat.
Oh, really?
Like totally flat. Yeah. So I'm going to shape it all out, but this is just the perfect size for having on your couch with your yarn in it. And I really liked the color and the shape, and
I do too.
It went so well with this project. Like, how could I not?
You know who else is going to like that? Julia's going to like that basket. That's a Julia color if I ever saw one.
Isabel, I don't know. It doesn't say that on it. And the one that I've got doesn't have a tag on it. So I'm actually not sure. So, but they had the
Isabel's
store that
asking
I went
if
to.
It's a big Yeah, Isabel's asking if it's a
Yeah,
big blue mama, for those of you who can't see the
don't
comments.
know. The shop I went to was Cricket Cove in Blacks Harbor, and they had quite a selection of like this size, plus they had the larger ones. I have a couple of big ones, but yeah, I'm very happy with that. And Becky, the cast on that I did for the ranunculus was the alternating cable cast on.
Our new
So,
favorite cast on.
but what I did do was I don't cast on 60 stitches. I cast on 80 stitches. Like 60 stitches, I don't like the way the whole rib gets pulled out when you stretch it big enough to go over your neck. So I cast on 80, and then when I get to my first increase round, I'll just like do the number of increases that gets me to whatever the stitch count should be after the first increase round.
Right.
So, okay, that's it for whips. Did you buy anything? I did. Well, I bought the
Well, I'm
basket.
expecting that you're going to buy, but before you show that too, speaking of
Okay.
buying, Wendy had asked if I was going to be going to the KW Knitting Guild Festival. So, Wendy, I thought I was going. I was planning to go. I had plans to go with a friend. And then I remembered a couple of weeks ago that I actually have a wedding to go to that day. I can't get out of the wedding. It's my nephew's wedding.
It's family.
It's family. And you know, you've got to go. Family calls. Family has to trump knitting sometimes. But anyway, so I'm not able to go. And I'm like the saddest girl. And that's what I was saying that to Noelle tonight. I said, you know, I'm already having FOMO about Kitchener. She says, Kelly, we're going to enough other festivals, but that's not the point. I really like the Kitchener show. So
I know.
if you're in the area and you can go and support them, it's one of my favorite shows to go to that is local, somewhat local to us, 2.5 hours away.
Yep.
And it's on September 9th, and it's in the Kitchener Waterloo Auditorium. And it is a great show. It's one that I do not like to miss. And I am sad
I've
that
only
I'm
been
missing it.
once. I was only once last year and I loved it. I had no idea because we're usually on vacation in September. So
that's right. Yes. So
yes.
And yes, Wendy, it is fun to go to the festival too, because last year we got to see so many people that are fellow knit chatters that we didn't know. So it was really nice to meet people, but unfortunately, neither one of us are going to be able to make it this year. But hey, next year for sure. So,
and we're going to Woolstock.
We are going to Woolstock. Yes. Yeah. And we're going to Paris, Ontario.
Yes, we're going to Paris. Yes.
I keep saying that. So, you know, I'm going to Paris in October, Ontario. Okay. What'd you get?
Oh, this is yarn that I actually bought at Little Red Mitten before, because last weekend or last.
Because you didn't think you'd have enough to get you through the trip?
I went to Little Red Mitten before because I had to drop off a sample. I was dropping off some samples for them anyway. So this is a yarn. This is by King Cole. It's homespun prism. This is DK weight yarn. And it is, let me just look here. 22% fine merino, 22% alpaca, 23% acrylic, and 10% viscose. So you could actually do socks with that.
You could.
So it is super wash. So I got 2. So I'll either make socks, or I thought too that this, like that would make a
fun
really
little
cute
sweater.
baby sweater.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's super wash. So for a baby sweater, it's perfect because you can throw it in the washer. But I did think it would make really nice socks too. And it's got pretty good yardage in it for being a DK, which I think you would get kind of like the Trillium yarn. You would get a nice sock that wasn't too heavy, even though you're knitting it at the bigger gauge. So yeah, so I got that color that I brought with me because I thought, you know, just in case I run out of things to knit, I would have that with me. And then
so
today,
Janet's in here and she says she has that in her shop as well, and she's made socks with it. Yeah, that's great.
Good to know. Yep. And this was my other skein. I got this today. So this is Fleece Artist, which is from Nova Scotia, even though I bought it in New Brunswick. This color is called Puffin. And I'll unfold it. It's just like immediately when you see it, like you think
puffin.
Oh, Puffin. So this is Ross liked this color. So I am actually going to knit him a pair of socks. This is their cottage socks, which is 80% organic merino, 20% nylon. And I told him while we're on vacation, I'm going to get this rolled up. And while we're on vacation, I'm going to, anytime he's taking me somewhere that has to do with knitting, I'm going to work on these socks.
It's like a knitting game.
That's right.
So it's incentive
Anyway.
for Ross to take you to knitting things, right?
That's right. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
There we go.
Because I honestly haven't knit him a pair of socks for a
Dangle
while.
that carrot.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see on how that will knit up. So
yeah, me too.
Anyway.
Oh, Tracy's asking about my pottery mug. It is beautiful. You're right. This is from Positive Pottery, and it's Pause as in PAWS. And she's local. She actually lives about 1.5 kilometers away from me. She does have an Instagram account if you're interested. And she has a shop as well that she sells items from. And it's a beautiful mug. Beautiful mug.
Okay. Tammy said she bought 2 of these for a sweater yoke too.
I'm really interested to see how that knits up.
Me too. It came in really nice colors.
I love the colors.
So, and it was really cost effective. So,
I'm really into that feeling of that yarn. Like you said, my mind now is shifting into all things fall, and I had even had plans to come down and sort of decorate the studio for fall, and our little Puddles Streamyard duck back there. He's looking a little lonely, and I bought a few little things to zhuzh the studio up for fall. My heart wasn't in it because it's too stinking hot this week. So maybe next week. Maybe there'll be some changes for next week. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we should. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, a new pattern just dropped today. I have been waiting for this pattern.
Yes, you have.
I want to make this pattern so badly. So this is the Leica. I think it's Leica. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it.
I think it's
Lyco sweater by Florence Sperling. Lyco. And I love it. I love everything about this sweater. I would do it in long sleeve. I've seen all the Instagram stuff for it, and I thought I can't wait for that to come out. I really want to cast it on. I think the original pattern calls for Biche and Bouche yarn, but I know that I've got yarn. Well, I know that I've got yarn in my stash that I could use, but who knows? I'll be going to yarn places. This could be something that gets cast on before I get home, but I love that sweater. So
it's very unique. It really is.
Yep.
Is that what is that technique called? The Estonian?
Rusamine. Estonian. It is Estonian inlay. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to, I haven't bought the pattern yet, but I am going to. It didn't say that. Like, how sometimes in the Ravelry, when you look at kind of the tags, it will say, I didn't see that in there, but that doesn't mean that that's not. To me, it looks like that's what it is. So
it does.
Oh, my wonderful knitting life setter friend was a test knitter for it, and it turned out beautifully. So yeah, I just think it's gorgeous. So anyway, we'll see whether that gets cast on.
I only had one other thing to mention too about just, talking about announcements and whatnot. I saw this week, and I'm sure quite a few of you as well saw it, that Knit City is expanding again. So
I saw that.
Just like how they split the Montreal to an alternating year with Toronto, they are now moving forward to splitting alternating years with Vancouver and then bringing the alternating year to Calgary. So they're really sort of, placing themselves kind of across the country so that more people have access to attend. It's a wonderful event. I can't say enough about it. If you have an opportunity to attend one that's, within your means to get to, then you really should, because I've been to Vancouver, and now I've been to Montreal twice with you, and we're going to be in Toronto next year. And I wouldn't rule out Calgary, because Calgary is just a short plane ride for us too. And also I wouldn't rule out going back to Vancouver, because once I'm at my daughter's house, that's only an hour drive from there. So they're fantastic events. The marketplaces that they have are wonderful. They are well organized, and I haven't been disappointed. So yeah.
Okay, Kathy said, what size yarn is the Lyco? Well, the Biche and Bouche yarn is a fingering weight, but I do believe, that the tension on the sweater was 22.5 stitches. So,
Okay.
So I was thinking, that yarn that we got that we still haven't knit with, the gathering yarn.
Which? Yes.
The gathering yarn that was the Massam BFL blend. And I got it in gray, but then
that feels to me like that's quite a bit thicker than this.
Yeah, but it's a 22.5 stitch,
22.5
stitch gauge.
Maybe.
I think that gathering yarn is pretty much like the Sonder yarns 4-ply, Sunday morning 4-ply.
Okay. Sure, that may work.
The same composition. So I think that would actually work well for it. But
I was also thinking Patagonia, but I think that's just a little too thick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little.
Well, you just figure out what size you're going to do, though, right? But I think I've knit Patagonia at that gauge, though.
Or Holst. I mean, definitely Holst too. So yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so is the Knit City Calgary, is that going to be like Vancouver's like in the next week or so, and then Calgary will be like next year instead of Vancouver?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will always still be the May-long weekend. Well, I don't know if it'll always be the long weekend, but it'll be like the spring show and then the fall show, and then they're going to alternate between the 4 cities. So I think that's really clever. And I appreciate their efforts to sort of bring their festival across the country too.
Yep.
So yeah.
So
okay.
Well, we should quickly talk about our knit-alongs.
Yes.
Since we seem to have gone over in time again.
Yes.
Okay. So we have our sock knit-along, which we drew prizes for earlier. So the sock knit-along runs to the end of the year. All you have to do is finish socks. Doesn't matter when you started them. And there is finished object thread and Ravelry. We draw prizes at the end of every month, and we will have a grand prize at the end of the year. And then we have our Smash That Stash. And to Smash That Stash, all you have to do is use at least 50 grams of stash yarn. Stash yarn is yarn that was in your stash on or before December 31st, 2022. And again, finished object thread, we draw every quarter. And at the end of the year, we will have a prize that we will draw from people who have entered something in every quarter. And whips are allowed for that. And then we have our Burakel or our Marie Wallin. You can make any Marie Wallin or Susan Crawford pattern. There is several other podcasters, the list is on the screen, that are doing it in conjunction with us. Their rules might be slightly different, but you can check them out as well, because you're welcome to double dip in as many of them as you're able to. And then the last one that actually ends at the end of September is our Unit Toronto.
And I don't think
we may not have a banner for that one.
No.
Anyways, it's all you have to do is knit a pattern from Unit Toronto, which is Claudia Quintanello. She's got lovely patterns. Kelly last week had the acorn pullover, which
I was wearing Claudia. The Melody sweater.
And you were wearing the Melody sweater. And I just finished the Florencia sweater that was by Claudia. So there's lots of patterns in that. And finished object thread is on Ravelry, and that runs until the end of September.
And so far, there's only one finish in there. So odds are pretty good for a prize.
Yeah. So
join in.
But check out her patterns, because there's lots of gorgeous patterns. So and there's easily something that you could finish in the time frame, because there's some socks, there's shawls, there's lots of babies and children's knits. So
Tammy says that she has been smashing her stash like crazy, but Canada Post keeps topping it up. Darn that Canada Post.
Yeah. It's funny how that happens.
Right? It's very funny. It just, the level never goes down.
Yeah.
Never.
So anyway.
Okay.
So
thanks for coming out.
I will be in a different location next week. Actually, by the time we film next week, I will be in Charlottetown.
Yes, you will.
So
not at the Fiber Festival, though.
Not at the Fiber Festival.
No.
but I am going to visit the yarn store in Bucktouche on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, going to meet Manon and possibly Sophie. And yeah, it looks like such a lovely little shop. I'm excited to go to it. And Bucktouche looks like a lovely area with a nice boardwalk. And that's one thing I wanted to say too, was I actually went on a hike today with my hiking poles and all was good. All was good. It was my first, you know what? Honestly, it was a really super easy hike, but it was a little nerve-wracking.
I bet.
It's the first time. It was the first time I've gone on a hike since, and I'm like, okay, but all good. Poles, amazing. The poles are amazing. Like they really are.
Good.
Like even when you're getting on some rocky ground, like we were kind of down at one point, down on kind of like a beach area, but there's a lot of rocks and you're kind of climbing up a bit. You can actually put your pole on it and see if the rock is stable before you step on it. It's awesome.
There you go. So, and did you have your knitting bag hanging from one of your poles?
No, my knitting bag was in Ross's backpack. I wasn't allowed to have it while I was walking.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, but anyway, we just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's wonderful. We love Tuesdays and sharing with everybody, and so happy that you continue to join us week after week. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely.
So take care, everybody, and happy knitting.